today's adventure, we are headed to the ice castles in Woodstock, New Hampshire. This is a trip that has been on our family's bucket list for a couple of winters now, and for various reasons we have just never made it happen. I have found that the best way to make sure we actually go on these adventures that we desire to is to just purchase the tickets. Just go ahead and do it. So for Christmas, we like to get our kids a couple of experience gifts, and this was one of the experience gifts we gave them for this most recent holiday season, and today was the day to make it happen. We had originally reserved our tickets for a Tuesday during our most recent break from school, and when that day came around, we ended up with a couple of sick family members. So we had to reschedule. Fortunately, we were able to do this. We paid a $15 fee in order to reschedule. It was just one $15 fee. It wasn't $15 per ticket, thank goodness. And so we rescheduled for the Sunday following the Tuesday when we were supposed to go. And that gave us just enough time to let everyone who was sick feel better and be really ready for this trip. We thoroughly enjoyed the scenery as we made our way to the ice castles, and the whole experience was made that much more beautiful by the freshly falling snow. Fortunately, the snow was light and was not accumulating very quickly, so it did add to the beauty of the experience but did not make our travel too much more difficult. It did, of course, add a little bit of time to our overall travel to and from, and we also needed to use a little more caution as we were driving because any amount of snow warrants that, but overall it really didn't hinder us too much and truly added to the experience of visiting these ice castles for the very first time. We really were not sure what to expect when we visited the ice castles. I had heard from some friends and family who had visited that they found it beautiful, and I had done a little bit of research and reading of other people's experiences online, and overall I just knew that almost everyone who went was having a great experience and really enjoying themselves, but we didn't know exactly what attractions we were going to encounter once we were there. It was a very pleasant surprise to see formations such as this quite castle-esque structure here. In addition to ice slides, there were different caverns that you could walk into, archways that were very intricately done, crawl tunnels that were specifically geared toward the kids, and adults could get into them, but it wasn't a particularly easy task, and I know that Eli really enjoyed that. You'll hear from him later on in this vlog, and he quotes that was one of his favorite things about the trip, specifically the kid tunnels that were not easily accessible by adults. And on the day that we visited, there were a few things that were not open and a few things that we chose not to do. And those included the Mystic Forest Light Walk. I really would have liked to have done that. You can catch a glimpse of it here off into the woods. It just wasn't open at the time that we visited, and I don't actually know why, but Brandon is suspecting that it was because we visited during the day, and since it is a light walk, it may just be an evening only type of thing. But in case you are able to do the light walk yourself, it is a leisurely stroll that is a 1/4 mile long along a walking path that is completely illuminated in the magical glow of winter. So it really does sound wonderful, and I do wish that we could have done it, but it did not happen for us on this day. Another attraction that we were not able to experience on the day that we visited was the snow tubing area. It was closed due to the actively falling snow. Something about the snow was making the trail or the hill not slippery enough for sliding, and it's not a super steep area where the snow tubing is, so that does seem to make sense. So yeah, we didn't get to do that on this day either. The Polar Pub, which you will see a little later on in this vlog, was not open when we visited either. I'm not sure that we would have utilized it, so it really didn't bother us that it wasn't open, but it is a location where you can purchase some adult beverages, and we did go over into the area to enjoy the igloo where this bar is located, as getting to see an igloo in person is always a neat experience. Another attraction that is offered when you visit the ice castles is sleigh rides. They are an additional charge and are ultimately something we chose not to do. There is also an area called the Arctic Alcove that can be rented for private events. They suggest proposals or other special occasions. It did look like a very nice little area. A couple of other amenities that are offered here at the ice castles include porta potties. That's always an important thing, to have access to a bathroom, even if it is a porta potty. I know that's not anyone's first choice, but it'll do when you really have to go. There also was a food truck that had some beverages and a couple of meal options. There were a couple of little fires set up so you could warm your hands and hang out around the fire for a little break. Our children enjoyed that. And there are multiple locations around the ice castles to snap some great family pictures together. Prior to our trip, I didn't realize that these ice castles are set up in multiple locations. I had it in my head that New Hampshire was the only one, but you can also visit the ice castles in Minnesota, New York, Utah, and Wisconsin. I also recently learned that the ice castles first began in 2011. Their primary goal is to make people smile. Their website shares that each year Ice Castles brings fairy tales to life for hundreds of thousands of families across North America.
Where did your mat go, Eli?
Oh my word, kid.
That's not straight up.
Struggle, we call him?
Yeah.
Since 2011, Ice Castles has been dedicated to creating an experience that will live on long after the ice melts. For all who enter through our icicle-adorned archways, we hope the time spent at Ice Castles.
Oh, Charlie.
Bringing joy to others has been
Ready?
a mission since the company's
Here we go.
inception. Founder to bring happiness and joy to his children. After moving from sunny California to snowy Utah, Christensen did what any father of 6 stir-crazy kids with cabin fever would do. He built an ice cave in his yard to get his kids out of the house. His stroke of genius worked. His icy invention wasn't just a hit with his own children. Kids from all over the neighborhood and eventually from all across town got wind of his creation, bundled up, and headed outside to play at Christensen's wintry wonderland. The kids affectionately called this winter playground an ice castle, and that is exactly what it is today. Although Ice Castles has grown significantly since then, our mission remains the same: to create happiness, laughter, and unforgettable winter memories. As you saw earlier in the vlog, there is a little section that looks like the pages in a storybook, and it tells an abbreviated version of Christensen's journey with his own children and how the ice castles were born. A few other facts about the ice castles that I found really interesting. The ice castles were created with over 25,000 tons of ice. And also, some of the icicles that are hanging in the caverns and archways were hand-placed so that they dangle overhead like a beautiful winter chandelier. And one more amenity that I haven't mentioned yet. When you get to the end of your visit, there is a small little gift shop that you walk through to leave the ice castles and get back out to the parking area. And not only is it warm, so that's quite refreshing, there are also several little trinkets from sweatshirts to stuffed animals to magnets that you can purchase to commemorate your trip.
Okay, well now I want to come in and see.
Oh, there's all kinds of like turns and stuff too.
Oh.
Look,
That's
this is like an actual wiggle.
Oh, yeah. You can stand up in here. That's pretty good.
Okay. One of us should probably. Are you gonna go? I'll go out.
Alright, I'm gonna keep going in, I think. I don't know, this gets pretty small. We'll see. Oh, wow.
I want to get out of here.
Good.
Our trip to the ice castles is certainly one we won't soon forget. Despite the attractions here being weather dependent and a few of the things being closed on the day that we visited, there was still so much to do and so much beauty to behold, and it was a trip that we definitely enjoyed immensely. Something that we brought with us to make the trip a little more comfortable for ourselves was hand warmers, so I would definitely recommend investing in some of those, whether it's the disposable kind or we have some rechargeable ones that I purchased on Amazon and really love. I'll link them in the description for you. They were definitely well enjoyed on this trip by every family member. We also had our children dress in their head-to-toe winter gear, so hats, coats, mittens, ski pants, boots. That way they could stay as warm and comfortable for as long as possible. And the last suggestion I would give, if you have any small children who can't walk in the snow as easily, I would recommend bringing a little sled with you. We saw multiple families of young children that did this, and it looked like it was working really well for them.
It has been a beautiful adventure at the ice castles here in New Hampshire. It's a chilly day. It's also a snowy day, but the snow added to the beauty of things. I do wish we had gotten to be here in the evening hours to see the lights, but very beautiful experience overall. We are back in the car, thawing from our experience at the ice castles. It was definitely a chilly day. This was not the original day that we were going to visit the ice castles, but on the original day that we had tickets, we had some sick family members, so we ended up having to reschedule. So I'm glad that we were still able to get the trip in and to go and enjoy the sights, because of course with something like that, they don't really know how long they'll be open for the season. So we wanted to make sure we got the trip in and didn't miss out because we had never been. So we are going to rate our experience. Guys, are you ready?
No.
All right, out of a 1 to 10 scale, what would you rate your time at the ice castles? Charlie first.
9.1.
9.1, okay. What was your favorite thing, Charlie?
The tunnels.
Oh, the tunnels were really cool. Eli, what's your rating?
9.599.
Okay, very nice rating. And what was your favorite thing?
Either the small tunnels that adults couldn't get through and big traffic jams.
Oh, adults
Or-
went through them.
The sledding.
Okay. I like the sledding too. Colin, was your trip to the ice castles really good? Good or not good?
Not great because I hate being cold.
Not good because you hate being cold. Okay, but did you have some fun?
Like on the slides.
And I like everything.
The slides.
Oh, you
too.
liked everything. What was your favorite thing?
The big tunnels and the traffic.
What about the slide?
The slide is kind of fun.
The slide was kind of fun.
Because it is not big.
Okay.
The only reason I give it a 9.599 was because it was cold. It
Yeah.
would have been better if it was warmer.
It would have been better if it was a little warmer, but having the snow was an added treat. We weren't expecting that. Brandon, what was your rating of the ice castle experience?
9.
What was your favorite thing? While he's thinking about his favorite thing, I would rate it. Oh, the slides were your favorite? I think the slides were my favorite too. And I would rate it a 9.3. And that is going to be it for us and our trip to the ice castles in Woodstock, New Hampshire. We definitely enjoyed our trip and all of the wintry weather that came along with it. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I really enjoy getting to chat with my subscribers and further build that community we are creating here at the Bees Business. Thank you again for joining us on today's adventure. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!